Corruption, it feels like this unbeatable universal disease, right? It just cripples nations from the inside out. But what if there was a blueprint to fight back? A framework that gets at not just the crime, but the very culture that lets it grow. Well, today we're going to break down a really powerful three-part solution to do exactly that. And this quote from our source material, man, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Corruption isn't just about stolen money. It's about stolen potential, stolen trust, a stolen future for every single one of us. It's deeply personal. For decades, the fight has always been about, new laws, tougher penalties. But what if the real problem isn't just about the rules on the books? What if it's actually about us?
Okay, so this is the core idea. We're not fighting some single monster here. We're actually fighting a crisis on three different fronts: a failure of our moral character, a failure of smart tactics, and maybe, just maybe, the most important one, a failure of hope. That deep cynicism that makes good people just give up.
And, well, if you're going to fight a three-part problem, you need a three-part solution, right? This is what's called the triangle of transformation. It's this really elegant framework that's designed to hit each one of those failures head on. Now, this entire framework comes from the incredible work of Melvyn C. Valenzuela, and it maps out a super clear path. To fight the failure of character, the solution is to forge the will, and that's drawn from the book Pananagutan. To take on the failure of strategy, we have to master the way with the art of smart tactics. And to deal with the failure of cynicism, we have to heal the wound using the self-rescue playbook. It's a whole system, so let's dive into that first part. First up, Pillar 1. Before you can fight any battle, you gotta know why you're fighting in the first place. This is all about building an absolutely unshakable moral foundation, that personal will to choose the public good over your own personal gain. A really key concept here is the Filipino value of Pananagutan. Now, this isn't just accountability like we might think of it. It's this deep personal ownership of your duty and the ripple effects of your actions. It's the perfect antidote to a culture where nobody ever wants to take the blame. And that right there is the real power of this idea. When you truly embrace that deep sense of accountability, you're not just being responsible anymore. You're actually stepping up. You're becoming a leader, and it doesn't matter what your job title is. So Palalani Lolo, which means my grandfather's reminder, helps build this will through principles just like these. Things like your word is your bond, that you are an active guardian of the public trust, and this great one, kitchen wisdom, treating public money with the same care you'd treat your own family's budget. Simple, right? But so powerful. Okay, so that brings us to Pillar 2, the way. Because having a strong moral compass is absolutely essential, but it is not enough. Corruption is a strategic problem, and it's run by tacticians. To win, you gotta fight smart. One of the most critical skills for anyone trying to make a change is calm thinking. Think about it. When you're facing down a corrupt system, anger is a liability. It just leads to burnout and a lot of mistakes. The ability to stay calm, to stay centered, and to make decisions based on facts, that is a tactical superpower. And you absolutely cannot do it alone. The fight against corruption, it's a team sport. Building coalitions with civil society, with ethical businesses, with honest insiders is absolutely crucial for any real lasting change. This really gets to the heart of the difference. Fighting hard is all about reacting with emotion, trying to be a lone hero and acting on impulse. It might feel good for a minute, but you know what? It almost always fails. Fighting smart is about calm thinking, building those alliances, and taking disciplined, strategic action. That's how you actually win. And finally, we have to talk about the part that gets ignored so often, the psychological toll. Pillar 3 is all about healing the wound of cynicism and building up the personal resilience you need to stay in what is a very long, very difficult fight. So many good people get trapped in what's called the toxic loop. You've probably felt it. You see corruption, you get angry, you feel powerless, and then you just become cynical. And that cynicism is exactly what the corrupt system wants. It makes you give up. Breaking this loop is the first real step to taking back your power. And a huge part of breaking that loop is to reframe how you look at setbacks. In any reform movement, you are going to have failures. The key is to see them not as some final verdict on your efforts, but just as data. It's just information that tells you where the system is strongest and how you need to tweak your strategy for the next round. So it's all about building your own psychological armor. It means learning to emotionally detach a bit, to understand that your worth is not defined by winning or losing against a broken system. And it means seeing every challenge, every bit of pain, as training that's just making you stronger. So we've got the will, the way, and healing the wound. How does this all come together? Well, this isn't just some abstract theory. It's a real, actionable blueprint for change that starts with you. The whole program unfolds in 3 phases. It starts with inner transformation. You got to fix yourself first. Then you move to core transformation, where you build a shared moral code with your team or your community. And only then do you move to system transformation, where you apply those smart tactics to the world outside. It's change from the inside out. This final quote just captures the entire mindset shift perfectly. This blueprint is designed to transform us from being passive victims of a corrupt system into being active, strategic, and resilient tacticians of change. Which, of course, leaves us with one last, very personal question. Looking at this entire blueprint, from building your own character, to mastering your strategy, to healing your own cynicism, what is the very first step in your transformation?